I am joined here with the man with 158 jobs. You've seen him and you've heard him on pretty much every other OTS podcast, Mr. Derrick Myers.
What's going on?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. A little tired, but I'm good.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. I'm good. I am enjoying this sun and this beautiful weather. So we're in Georgia, and usually Georgia is hella hot, but now it's like hot with like a slight breeze. So I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go outside.
I'm gonna probably go outside around 6 o'clock so I can feel it a little bit. Yeah.
6:37 to be safe.
Be safe, yeah. But I'm excited for us to be able to debut this new show, Venus and Mars.
Yes. Of course. So
yes.
Venus and Mars, Battle of the Sexes, is a show that we're bringing to you to basically discuss different topics, different events, where we get a male's point of view, a female's point of view, and see if we agree, disagree, or meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. And
so it should be interesting.
This is gonna be interesting because I've been intrigued over the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, like highly intrigued. I was intrigued before, but more intrigued over how women think differently than men on the small things. So this is going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. And can you check your toxic masculinity at the door, please?
I'm going to bring my toxic masculinity right in.
I'm just joking. Derrick is probably one person who's not toxic for the most part. So this should be interesting. So our first topic today is a video that has been going viral, and it's of a woman. I want to know her name so bad, but I can't find it. But basically, she's at a seminar or a town hall meeting, something, where she's teaching women how to get money from a man. And so we're going to play this clip and see what we think about it.
I'm excited about this one.
I know. Hold your breath. Again, the views of this woman does not express the views of me, Derrick, or OTS as a brand. Her language is a bit explicit, but hey, sometimes you got to talk like this to get the point across. All right.
In the right moment, your mean ass is gonna get fucked good and your bills paid. You understand what I'm saying? Being the nice girl, you have to know when to be nice. So first thing, to get money out of a man, you gotta know when to be nice and you gotta know when to be nasty.
That's number one.
It's number one. Because you have to keep his attention span first. So you're trying to get money out of him, and there's levels, lady. Again, Alan has been doing this tutorial, but here we are. There's levels. What type of money are you asking for? And that's going to determine how nice you need to be and how nasty you need to be. So if you're a girl who's just asking for nail money and bill money, you really don't have to be that nice. I'm going to get all that talking shit. I'm going to call her and talk mad shit about him. And then I'm going to answer the phone. Hello? How you doing? Well, tell me when I'm ready. No problem. Obedientness. That's number 2. Be obedient. And I know it sounds crazy, but we're talking about you're trying to get money out of a man. This is the topic, right? Okay, cool. Be obedient. Men like women who listen. It makes it easier for him to want to spend his money on you when you listen. The same way that you want your child to get good grades, all you gotta do is get A's. And I'll buy you whatever you want. It's the same shit. Get all A's in his class. And you'll get whatever you want. Number 3, how to get money out of a man. I want to put sex in this, but ladies, I want to teach y'all something. You don't even got to give it up, and you can still get the bag out of him. That comes with playing 1, 2, and 3 at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be a multitasker. You got to be a nice girl. You got to know when to put him in his place. You got to know how to spend his money. That's number 4. Men like women who know how to spend their money. Okay? So let me repeat that. Men like women who know how to spend their money. So there's the girl I take out to eat, and she's trying to spare me and not look like she's a gold digger and order a salad and a couple of things and not really eat. No, baby. This is the spot you're supposed to splurge. I'm gonna order that, and I'm gonna order to go, and I'm gonna tell him, yo, my mom is at the crib too, and I think she might want a little steak too. I ain't gonna get whatever you want. My mother taught me something. How you can't go home hungry and your pocket's empty. You understand what I'm saying? I remember coming into my house one night and my mother said to me, I said, I'm in her refrigerator, and she said, why are you in my refrigerator and you just came from a date with a guy? He didn't feed you? How your pussy wet and your stomach empty? You understand what I'm saying? So after that, I tested the waters. I have never let a man take me home without feeding me. I don't give a fuck if I'm not hungry and I'm throwing that shit in the fucking trash. Feed me, because it's gonna tell me what's next. If I say I'm hungry and he says, yo, I'm in a rush, I can't feed you right now, yo, you can't, and just drops me off, he's not really that interested. But the man that, he may be in a rush and says, listen, I don't have time to drop you, take you to go and get some paper, get yourself something to eat, whatever. Now we got Uber Eats, it's 2020. He's gonna make sure you eat and drop you off. A man that does not feed you, he doesn't even deserve your conversation. So we're on number 4.
Now we're going to number 5.
Now we're going to number 5. But damn, I could keep going because there's so many ways. And this is without giving up the coochie. You understand what I'm saying? I just want to talk from experience. One of my ways when I am in that mode and I'm like, I just want the money, find common interest. Find a common ground. You may not have an auntie in Ohio, but if he's telling you that his family's from Cleveland and they play basketball and they do this, go start looking up some basketball players. Go start looking up the city. Go start looking up some landmarks, some things that you guys can have mutual conversations about. Men have to be comfortable to spend their money. Make it easy for them, ladies. Always be on your best dressed, your best behavior. Men like that boss talk too. Again, it's levels to get in the bag. So depends on what level you are. Because a girl that's going for 8 figures, I'm exaggerating, 6 figures, she's gonna have a conversation about business the entire date. Whether it's her business or his business, the entire date is about business. It's about what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go. I don't want to hear your boyfriend broke your heart. I don't care about the last nigga that cheated on you. I don't care that I have the same car as somebody you used to know. I don't want to hear about that. Girls are having the wrong conversations, and that's why he's not calling you back. Or that's why you're the girl who you're wondering why he's not flying you out, and this other girl he's flying out and she ain't giving it up, but you already let him hit it. You gotta protect your queen down there, ladies. Men like a chase. They are animals, and I'm not calling them animals in a disrespectful way. They are animals in the sense like in the jungle, tigers, lions, and bears. They are animals. They feed on the chase. The bear goes to the water, he sits there quietly, he waits for the fish that doesn't see him coming and scoops it. Same way men are with women. The lion, he sits back, he behind the bushes, the hyenas are running, they're going crazy. The hyenas is the girls who don't leave with the bag. They going crazy. They running around in the jungle. You understand what I'm saying? They not focused. While me, I'm a tiger. I'm gonna sit back in the bushes, real quiet, watch everybody go by, and I'm gonna take down the elephant. You heard? I'm gonna take down the giraffe. While y'all wanna play with these little,
Okay, well, she called herself a tiger. Her hair was
Look like
was
one.
in fact orange.
Yeah.
You know, so I appreciate the consistency.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first as a man, listening to a woman teaching other women how to get money from a man.
See, here's the thing. I think I get her perspective on this, but to be completely honest, I don't want a woman that only wants me for my money. I don't want a woman that only respects me for how much I have. I don't want a woman that's only going to treat me well to get money from me, and then when I give it to her, treat me like shit after. I don't like that. Doesn't make any sense. So you're going to speak to me in a nice, polite way just so you can get money from me, or the amount. Now, like she said, right? If it's just for nails or something like that, you don't have to speak so nice. That's no. I'm sorry, no. Here's my thing. I don't like games. I don't like having to do certain things only because of a certain objective. Um, like just treat people the right way. That's it. Like I'm not in that space where I'm just dating random women. I'm not doing that. So this to me is more along the lines of when a woman and a man both don't want actual commitment. They just want companionship. That might be more along the lines of what she's discussing. Some of the things that she said made sense. She made up a whole new word, obedientness.
Obedienceness.
Yeah, that good job.
Adding it to my list of new words.
Right. I don't see this idea that women have to be obedient to men or submissive to men is something that I hate. Is to each other. It is both to each other, submitting to the other one. Especially when you know when this one is able to lead in this situation. Cool, I back up. You take over. That's it's more of a partnership. I also don't like the idea of a woman only like I have to provide everything for her. You should be able to go get it for yourself. That's like having a child. What she described is like being a child.
She came on and she said it's like your child. You get straight A's, you act good, I give you a reward. It's the same thing. She literally said that.
Yeah, so I'm good on that. Like, it doesn't make sense that I have to basically give you an allowance. Why is it that an adult can't just go get it on their own? So you want to be you just want to be someone that's just being catered to. Nah, bruh. Not in a relationship. Sorry.
I think I had to watch it a few times because when you watch it the first time, you're listening with ears as it applies to you and how you act inside of a relationship or when you're dating. I'm not somebody who's ever been good at finessing a guy or even being comfortable asking for things because I'm somebody like I don't like asking anybody for help, money, anything. So off top, I'm like, I can't agree with any of this. But like you said, I think that she's definitely speaking to a certain type of man, a certain type of woman, where both of y'all are really in here playing games. Like that's really what it is. And I think that from a single woman's perspective, out here dating, we know that a lot of guys really only want one thing, and that's to get the coochie, as she said. So if your game is to act a certain way and to tell me the things you think that I want to hear, and you're putting on a facade and putting on a role so that you get what you want, well, shit, I'm gonna come into this game prepared as well. And if you're trying to get something from me, my something would be the money. So I get it from that point of view.
Yeah. And with this being said like that, okay, that makes sense. Cool. But for me, if I'm thinking about this from my perspective, this is the type of woman that I'm running away from.
Of course. And I think too, men and women know who they can play that game with. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times we know that person's playing that game, but we'll act as if we don't. because we're both out to get something. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
with her speaking about the obedience-ness and all that shit, like, I'm sure the guy that she's rocking with knows that she's doing it because she wants something. And if we're both doing what we have to do to make the other person happy to get what we want, then that's what it is.
For sure.
Now, one thing that she spoke about was what is it? When she was talking about women are having the wrong conversations. I can agree with that, actually. And not so much for trying to get money from somebody, but just in general, like, why are we on a date discussing my ex? Or why are we on a date discussing how this other guy hurt me? Like, we're on a date to try to get to know each other, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
So
know?
that to me, I understand it, but are we talking about like the first date, or are we talking about like dates in? Because I think that
Good
certain
question.
topics like that could come up during like say for example you're out and then something reminds you of something and you react a
Hmm.
certain way, and
Hmm.
and he asks, why you act like that? Oh, because
Hmm.
such and such. That to me would make more sense of happening on a date when you guys have been around each other for a little while.
Hmm.
But that's a part of also getting to know someone. Like, you have to know their past. So the idea that I don't want to know this, that, and the other about you, like, that's, to me, that's false. Now, I will say, I'm not interested. Honestly can't say that any relationship that I've been in, I've known a great deal about their exes.
Hmm.
I've known about things that has taken place in the past, but I don't know. I don't even think no. Okay. So one of my exes, I did know a couple of guys that she had dated because we were all going to the same church.
Hmm.
So go figure.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
everybody knows everybody's business,
Everyone
and
knows
two,
everybody. Yeah. Yeah.
and then two, like, I think, like, what game are we playing here? Because I think from the way that she's talking, like, this is just somebody that I go on serial dates with. This isn't somebody I'm really inside of a relationship with. We are just going out on dates, and I'm trying to get a bag, or I'm trying to get my nails done, or I'm trying to get my bills paid, and the date is just a way to pacify you so that I can get that, right?
Right. Right.
Now, what you're talking about, knowing a person's past, that's if you're really trying to be in a relationship and
Mm-hmm.
things eventually come up, or if y'all start off as friends first. And as friends, of course, you have different conversations.
Yes.
There's a different vulnerability level. So, of course, you're going to know a little bit more about that person before y'all actually get into, now I want to be your boyfriend or girlfriend, or now I want us to take it to the next step.
Right. Right. That's a great point. I don't know. I think that this is one of those things where you have to really add context to a lot of the stuff that she's saying.
Hmm.
Um, but like for you though, have you ever been in a situation similar to any of what she described?
No, I mean, not on purpose. Like, again, I think playing that game, you have to have a certain level of confidence and finesse to be
Mm-hmm.
able to do that. And I think I just never really had it,
Yeah.
at least not on purpose. My finesse usually comes with the fact that, like, we're cool and I get comfortable and we're friends and I'm a friendly person. So you think that's flirting, and now you think like I'm trying to do something and I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in that situation. I've been in a situation where I had a guy who would take me and my friends, my two best friends. We would go to like a comedy club every Thursday. He would buy us a bottle and like buy us food, and then like that was it. And then as soon as it turned into him trying to actually do something, I was like, yeah, I'm done here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
I walk away. I can't continue the finesse once it becomes real like that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I've been finessed.
Oh, tell me the
I've been
story. How
finessed.
how are
Yeah.
you for this?
Well, I told you about this recently about dating someone that had a kid. She and I only dated for a few months, but I was actually I've known her for most of my life, so it wasn't like it was just a brand new person. she and I had been around each other tons of times. We knew each other before we even started dating, so it wasn't someone unfamiliar. But when we started dating, it was one of those things where, so I live in McDonough, and she
in the middle of
lived,
nowhere.
it's God's backyard. Um, she lives, I think, in Marietta, Smyrna area. She may have moved, so I don't know. But when we were dating, she was in Marietta. So for me, that's a 45-minute drive. I would go up there pretty much every weekend to just chill out for most of the day. Like, we might go out on a date or whatever. I remember taking her out to some sushi spot in Atlanta. I forgot the name of it. It starts with an R, maybe like Roz or something like that.
Raw.
Okay, yeah. So we went there. Expensive food. Like, I think I spent like maybe like $60 to $80 on sushi, and we walked out. I wasn't even full. We got sushi and drinks, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, but cool. Like, every single time I thought it was going to, I'm thinking the dates and spending time together was like an investment on both of our parts. Little did I realize, until I look back on it, she was getting me to, I went and bought groceries. I went, picked her son up from school multiple times after I worked. Picked her son up from school and picked her up from work when her car was down. Oh no, it got repossessed. I'm sorry.
It's tea.
I went and did all of that, picked them up, and then took them home. Even bought them dinner a couple of times. Helped her move into a different apartment. Like, all this stuff. I had done all this stuff over the course of like 3 or 4 months, and even bought her kid Christmas gifts and all this stuff. Come to find out, she's married. Legally married.
Legally married.
And when we parted ways, there wasn't even an apology. It was just, so I'm like, God, man.
Dating
and the thing
is
about
so
it is, I didn't
scary.
even do any.
Yeah. So she must have been listening to Shorty.
Probably.
She must have been
She
following
probably was.
6 steps.
Yeah, because I was like, what is all of this, man? That doesn't make any sense.
What was this even for?
Yeah.
But it's messed up, because with dating, like, I think women, even if they don't follow the 6 rules, like, guys know when you're really just there to feed her because she's hungry and she needs a dinner. You know what I'm saying? Because we do that. We do that, and I've been guilty of that before. Like, oh, I need a ride to work. So, hey, guy that I know likes me, like, can you take me to work? And then it turns into, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
we're all guilty of it. I just think there's different levels, like she said. And when you have somebody like you who, like, okay, so now you're buying groceries and you're buying multiple dinners and you're not really getting anything from it, then it becomes the issue, I
guess. Yeah. Once I saw the pattern, I was thinking, it was just things going slow. But once I saw nothing was happening, I'm like, all right, you know what?
She's just using you to kind of get along right now.
Yeah, I'm good. So,
Have you ever paid on bills before? Have you ever paid anybody's bill? Like rent, a phone bill, a hospital bill, credit card?
Phone bill.
Okay. I think phone bills are like...
Yeah, I paid a phone bill for one person. We weren't even in a relationship. It was just, we were dating, and I thought that's what we were working toward. And I paid her bill because I'm like, she had a kid. She didn't, I think she was like living, I don't even know where she was living anymore. Somewhere closer to Marietta. I'm now, the pattern is starting to, maybe I keep that in mind. But she was living out somewhere over there, and she didn't have a car. But then I don't even think she had a job, and she needed money for her phone bill or something like that. I think she was like with T-Mobile or something like that. It was like, it wasn't expensive, like $40 or something. Um, paid the bill, and then all of a
I
sudden
hear that is the going price of a piece of pussy now, $40. So, you know.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
The going price for a piece of pussy is $40.
Look, if women are giving enough for $40, that is, you guys need to know how to manage yourself well. That is horrible management. $40? Jesus Christ. At least round up to 100. My God. $40. That's gas, man. But yeah, once I paid the bill, then that was pretty much it. So, you know, I and that was like 2021. You know, like I'm saying when I was 20 or 21, not the year.
I was just say, damn, you was in the future. No. Okay, cool, got it.
No, when I was like 20, I was like 20 or 21, and you know, I like making dumb mistakes and not really picking up on things, because I didn't actually, for full disclosure, I didn't start dating until I didn't go my first date till I was 20.
Yeah, so you were still learning.
Yeah, still learning. I was homeschooled, so I was mad sheltered. So yeah, the idea of going out there and doing something like that, it wasn't really even possible at that point. But yeah, I got to get to college, and then finesse after finesse. I'm like, my God, this is what women are on. Like,
this dating world is no fun. What do you think is worse? Like a woman, like taking up your time and getting money from you, and like that's her gain, or somebody who is emotionally taxing? Like there's some women who will go through the motions with a guy, know that the guy really, really likes her, but she's really just doing that to try to get over an ex, or just kind of wasting time until her ex comes back.
Ooh. I don't know. It depends on the amount of time, I think, for both situations. Because to me, you know, when you're spending time with someone and you can't get that time back, it's like, you know, that you can't put a value on that. But when you're talking about doing that and spending money at the same time, that costs you a little more. So I might have to go with the first option. I might.
The money one.
Yeah, because the rebound is just something that can only be like maybe like a few weeks. But the first option, that could be several months, maybe even a year. And that's a long period of time that you just can't get back, and the money you can't get back. Like, you know what? I completely forgot about this. I did pay for something. The lady that I was telling you about that finessed me with, you know, during the sushi and all that. I actually helped her to get the apartment. She needed a deposit. The father wasn't, you know, helping, and she was about to get evicted or something like that. So I didn't want to see that, because, you know, she has a kid. So I'm like, oh man, I can't.
Oh, she tugged at the heartstrings.
Yeah, she did. So, she was really good. She was really
she was good.
and you know, I'm thinking I'm gonna get this money back and everything like that. You know, she promised I'd get it. You know, but you know, live and learn. That was you know, yeah.
Something that she spoke about, I believe number one, she said to know when to be nice and when to be mean. I feel like we talked about this on What I Think About This Week, to where some guys like the feistiness or want to see a mean girl. Do you ever like that? Like, oh, like I don't want to see you being nice and quiet all the time. Like I want to see you go off. Like I want to see the feisty.
Not on purpose. Why would I purpose? Listen, this is what I don't understand. Maybe it's because I'm now I'm 30. I'm, getting older. I'm starting to feel a different way about situations. I don't understand why anyone would want to make a woman be feisty. Like, women in general are a handful. Why would I purposefully do something to make you pissed off? And now I got to deal with that headache? Nah, man. Nah.
My dad, man, my dad's like that. My dad is like still he acts like a kid. He's just like a kid at heart. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's super playful. He likes to nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
And he does that with my mom, knowing that she'll get upset. And then he doesn't realize, which I don't know how he doesn't know it by now. My mom goes from 0 to 100 real quick. So where
Yeah.
he's expecting to only get a little bit of bite back, she like barks and she bites and it goes off.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the person, because some guys do like to like try to get a rise out of
something
women.
like that where you like to joke around. That to me, that's different. Like, I like to joke around, so there might be things that I do that could incidentally piss you off, and I miscalculate how you're going to react.
Miscalculated. Yep.
Yeah. So that to me is a total different thing. I'm just talking about strictly like doing something to like just push buttons. I wouldn't push buttons on purpose, because that's a headache. I don't purposefully want to give myself a headache. So, like, what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, nah, I'll be good. But when you're joking around, that could backfire a lot. I could definitely see that.
Yeah,
I could
for
definitely
sure.
see that.
I don't know. So I think for this particular, like her 6 points, I know that these aren't 6 things that I could follow, just because I don't like I don't have time for games. I'm not good at that said game. Like, if anything that I've gotten from a guy is because you did it. I didn't have to do anything for it. I'm not playing a game. It just happened.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad at, like, bro, like the same way, I'm going to say respect, for lack of a better word, the same way that I can respect the girl who has her own hustle and has her own grind and like is getting it herself. Like, I can low key respect the girl that is able to like get her rent paid from a guy without doing anything. Like that takes skill as well, because I fucking can't do it. So I mean, if you can do it, that's amazing.
I mean, I could see that. I could see that. I just I don't know. I mean, like, I guess I don't have a real problem with it, because there are guys that do certain things to get certain things from women. So I guess it's just like,
keep that same energy.
Keep that same energy. So I'm not upset about it. My only thing is, that's not the type of woman that every man wants. She's speaking in general terms. She's saying men do this, or men like this, men like that. That's not true. That I can wholeheartedly say that's not true, because that's not all men, and not all women are like this. Like, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, this is a specific situation.
Yeah.
Because this is not something that everyone likes to participate in. Like, my thing is, don't take the power of choice away from someone. If I like the game, I'm gonna find someone that knows how to play. Like, be my player too. I like, let's play. I'm good. If I like that.
Let's go.
Yeah. If I like that, but I'm not that type of person. So for me, this is the wrong advice for a person like me. Any guy that's like me, this is horrible. This is a way to not get something. I don't want someone to only be with me because of something that I can provide for them. I've been in that situation. I can't put myself in that situation again. So I understand where she's coming from. I can respect the hustle, but that's only because it's a hustle that is required for a certain type of person.
Yeah.
That's
This
it.
definitely speaks to a certain type of guy, a certain type of girl. And then I think the same way that you at 20 or 21 were like just like filling it out and really didn't know what dating was and couldn't see the signs, like girls are gonna do that too. Like, okay, so this is the type of guy that I can play this with.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of guy where that shit is just not going to fly. So
Yeah.
I think it's just assessing the situation on both ends and knowing who you can and cannot play that game with.
Yeah, this
And
is the great way to get hung up on, left on red, phone number blocked. This is a good way for me to do all of that. Don't do that.
And what I would like to say is, we spoke about keeping that same energy. This applies. It's just so funny at how like guys could do something for so long, and then as soon as girls get hip to it and they start doing the same thing, like, oh, this is terrible, and like
Yeah.
women shouldn't act like that. Whether it be you're doing what you need to do and playing a game to get sex, or me doing what I need to do to get money, or how we've been talking about WAP for the past 2 weeks, but the same
Yeah.
thing, the fact that guys have spoken in super explicit, degrading, and raw ways about women sexually for
Mm-hmm.
so long, and now that women are like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it too, and I'm gonna talk about it myself. Now niggas like, oh, like this is a
Yeah.
bad example. You shouldn't act like
Yeah.
this, sir. You've been doing it this whole time.
See, my whole thing with that is I don't understand why people are looking at rappers to be
Mm-hmm.
the model citizen. Like, for this is who you should look up to. Not every I don't care who it is you're talking about. Not every entertainer is to be looked at as a role model. They're an entertainer. Like, that's why I don't understand how we can apply that context for men and not for women. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't. Charles Barkley said when he was playing basketball, "Don't look at me as a role model.
Please don't.
I'm not your role model. Like, you're supposed to be. If you have a problem with WAP, which I don't, but if you have a problem with WAP, then you shouldn't have your kids listening to whatever, or be okay with your kids listening to whatever. Like, that's
Mm.
when you try and monitor that as much as possible. Now we're living in a digital age. It's very hard to set those restrictions, but you do that as much as possible. And if they but you remember when we were kids, if we wanted to go listen to something or watch something, we did it. We found a way to be able to go do it, right?
Period.
I
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that's still happening. That still
Yeah.
happens. That's
I
every
think
generation.
that it's not so much the restrictions anymore as it is just putting more emphasis of being a present parent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
Because
yeah,
like you said, back when we were kids, it was harder to get it, but we still found a way to get it. And once we did get it, in the back of my mind, even after watching certain things, hearing certain things, seeing certain things, I'm still hearing my dad in the back of my head, like, you better not fucking let me catch you doing any of
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
it's really the same thing. And I'm not somebody who feels like we should super shelter our children, because
Right.
I think that my dad was one parent that I think found a really good balance of keeping it real, like letting me know what the real world was, and like
Mhm.
still having some kind of boundaries and discipline. But it was sheltered in the sense of like, I couldn't date, I didn't go out to parties, I didn't do the teen club thing, I couldn't do lock-ins, could hardly do like a slumber party. So when I went to college for the first time, I was like, oh, this is freedom. And I wowed out a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, yeah.
So again, I just think that it's not about trying to keep your kids away from it. Of course, don't introduce kids to sexual things or things that are above their time or beyond their time, but still kind of set morals and discipline and all that good stuff, so that even if they do see it, they
Hmm.
don't feel influenced to now reenact it.
Well, see, and that's the thing too. Like, if you taught your kids well, you should be confident that they would make the right decisions in those situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be that you want to sit here and supervise them and be a helicopter parent
Mm-hmm.
all the time. Like, it should be that I taught you well, and if you find yourself in this situation, I expect you to make the right decision.
My
And if they
my
don't,
parents.
that's just a lesson to be learned.
That's the thing too. So two things. The one thing my parents like to pull out is, oh, like it's not so much you I am worried about. It is other people
Hmm.
around you because I can't trust what they'll do or how they'll act.
Heard that a
And
lot
then
growing up.
yeah. And then two, I would do things because that's what I wanted to do. And my parents would somehow try to make it about them, like, oh, I feel like you're doing this to get back at me, or I feel like I didn't do this right. So, ma'am, sir, like y'all did everything right, but like your kids have to be their own person and they're gonna fall and they're gonna make mistakes. And that is in no way, shape, or form a
Hmm.
reflection of how well you did as a parent. They just have to go through their own thing.
Exactly. Exactly. We all have our own journey,
Yes.
and we I'm pretty sure every parent would like to be able to protect their child from danger. Um, but that's not always the case. You can't always be there. So,
Hmm.
like, you have to just trust and know that what you taught them, they're going to make the right decisions. And whether that's about the people that they have around them or the situations they put themselves in or whatever, or
Hmm.
maybe just find themselves in, whatever the case might be, just know that you did the right thing. Like, having had that conversation with my parents, like, that was, oh man. Yeah.
What conversation? The
Uh,
birds and the bees conversation?
oh, that conversation was beyond awkward. That made no sense.
I didn't
Um,
really have an official birds and bees conversation. It was more like it just kind of came up random. I was like, like that's weird. I don't want to talk about it. But like we still
yeah,
talked about it.
yeah. See, my parents didn't explain it the best way. So
Hmm.
even coming from that conversation, I didn't know what sex was. I still, like, just had my own imagining, because I grew up in the church. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like, that I think that's one thing that when you grow up in that environment, that a lot of stuff is not actually, like, explained the right way.
Hmm.
And there's so much expectations that are put on you growing up in that environment, that it's almost impossible to even have some slight margin of ability to have just a little bit of error. It's almost like perfection. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
so yeah, I didn't understand. I honestly, and I have no shame in saying this, I honestly had no real idea of what sex was until I got to college.
Hmm.
I had no true understanding of the concept because of the fact that my parents did not speak openly about it. I
Hmm.
didn't know of a lot of stuff until I got to college, and I was able to sort through it that way, which
Hmm.
wasn't the best way, but that was my way. That was my path. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I think that I was sexually curious early. Like I knew what sex was. I
Hmm.
knew all that good stuff like very early, but I didn't act on it until way after a lot of my peers. So I was kind of late to the party as well. Um, and I think that the scare tactic for me wasn't so much like, oh, you'll catch AIDS and die. The scare tactic was my dad, like, if I catch a boy, I am whooping his ass. So I was more so
Yeah.
scared for the other person, not wanting it to
Yeah.
become like a thing. But I think my parents were more so like, once I hit like 18, 19, like I can't stop you from doing anything, but just be smart, like be careful, protect yourself. And my dad was like, if you do get pregnant, I don't want you to get a abortion. So like we talked about it,
Hmm.
but it was said that I don't want you doing it. If I catch you doing it, it's going to be some problems. But if you so happen to do it and sneak and do it, just be smart about it.
Yeah. See, like, I didn't. Okay, so I didn't know the proper. I didn't know the anatomical everything. Like I didn't know all of that. I knew the concept, like the basic concept, but I didn't know like everything that went into it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was of course I was curious, like, you know, going through puberty and everything like that. I was curious about things, but I didn't even have the environment to even act on the curiosity in any way, shape, or form.
Nor did you have anything to spark it. Like me knowing
Yeah.
about it was like I was at the bus stop one day because I went to public school. I was
Uh,
at the bus stop one day and there was like a porno mag just out there. So we were
at the
able
point
to
at the
see
bus
that
stop.
at the weird, right? And like there was like an article in there where this girl was talking about, now this is explicit, but the girl was talking about how she shaved her cootie cat for the first time and what it was like. And so like I I was reading it, I was seeing pictures. In middle school, we had a friend where she would like play her stepdad's pornos and it would be like 10 kids just kind of watching it. So like it was, I definitely knew about it. I knew what it looked like. I knew what to expect, kind of, but
Yeah.
not really, because I think pornos are a bad way to be introduced to sex because
Yeah.
that's not real life.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like you said, you didn't even have the environment or anything to really teach you, I guess, because you
Yeah.
were in a more sheltered type of environment.
Yeah. It was very weird. It was very weird. And then, you know, going from being homeschooled to college is that's a shock in and of itself,
Yes, it
because
is.
it's just, you know, I'm
Bunch of
used to it.
hornballs everywhere.
I went my first school was actually a Christian college, Atlanta Christian College,
Oh, I know
ACC.
y'all was lit.
There were more pregnancies in that school than
Yep.
any other school I had gone to. So I went to 3 other colleges, and not like I had never known anything like that before. Never seen it like that. I went to West Georgia as well. That was more tame, and they had a bigger campus, frats, sororities, all that. Actually, when I first got there, that first weekend they had a lingerie party. But there were
I knew you were like, what is
yeah,
happening?
I didn't. I'm like, wow.
Is this Babylon? What is happening here?
So, you know, it was one of those things where I was like, you know, I was intrigued as to how everybody at that school was popping up pregnant, because I didn't stay on campus on at ACC, um, but everyone was popping up pregnant, and that was a small campus, so it
Yo,
was
because
not
at the other
happening.
school, the kids had gotten everything out of their system kind of early. Like I
Yeah.
had friends that was having sex like 14, 13, 15. You
Wow.
know what I'm saying? So like they been knew what was up. So when they got to college, it wasn't like a shock. Like that's my one. I don't want my daughter to go into any situation and do something off the strength of like a shock of value or
Yeah.
like just curiosity and end up doing something silly.
Yeah. It's much better to prepare ahead of time
Mm-hmm.
than it is to shield, and then when they get into that situation, now they
They
don't
don't
know
know
what
what
the
to
hell
do.
to expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't lose my virginity until I was 25.
Oh, bless you, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So it was I was that I felt it was better for me to wait until then than to wait, you know, not than to just rush it. 'Cause you
Mm-hmm.
know, but also I'm also a germaphobe, so the idea of just sleeping with someone random just
Yeah.
wasn't my thing. So yeah, my first, that was my first relationship, but that was probably the first serious relationship that I had, that
Mm-hmm.
it was like, okay, cool. And you know, that was,
It was an experience, I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, the second thing I want to talk about today is this mixtape cover you dropped on Instagram yesterday. Now, I'm joking and I can joke with you about it because we're friends,
Yeah.
but the post itself was actually I want to say powerful for lack of a better word, because in the caption you were very honest and vulnerable about where you were during that picture as far as mentally, spiritually, emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And something that we've been really tackling a lot is the toxic masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to tell men, especially Black men, that we want to create a safe space for you to open up, and for you to be vulnerable, and to kind of tear down the stereotypes of what a man should be or what a man should act like or how they should react in these situations.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of want to discuss that a little bit. Like, did you ever feel like it was okay, or did you feel like you were in a safe space to open up emotionally about things, or did you just get to that point when you posted the picture?
I just got to that point where I was okay with even crying 2 years ago. I like I grew up in the church, but in the Black community, the idea of expressing yourself and being open, honest, and vulnerable to people is not encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe today it is, but growing up, it wasn't. That's not what what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 30 years, I've seen my dad cry maybe 4 or 5 times. And two of those times was when he was close to death. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like I it just wasn't something that I saw. So in my mind, I can't let people see me cry. I can't let people see me break down. I can't be
Mm-hmm.
open and honest. Like, of course, there was like a couple of friends that knew what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
But no one in that time, not even my family, knew the entire story. Um, there's still a lot of stuff that I'm pretty sure I haven't even told them, that I was experiencing through that time. But to be completely honest, I could only open up to women. Like I've never, can't say never, but because my friend that I talked about in that post, Tim, he was probably one of the only guys that I could open up to, because he and I worked together. So
Mm-hmm.
we'd be standing around for 8 hours. We were doing security at Chick-fil-A's corporate office. We'd be standing around most of the day. We're talking. So
Mm-hmm.
we I was able to actually open up and be honest about some stuff with him. But I, I can't say that I've ever been, probably before 2 years ago, I can't say that I was ever actually fully open and honest about a lot of stuff that I was going through,
Mm-hmm.
because my whole thing was just keep my head down, focus on what I need to focus on, and push through. Not
Mm-hmm.
I felt like expressing what I was going through was a distraction. I also don't like attention. So it's already hard for me. Like on my birthday, when people are singing happy birthday, it's very awkward for me. Like I'm like sitting, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm
Thanks.
like, so that in and of itself, just like being someone that doesn't crave attention. Like when I'm going through something, I try not to talk about it, because it's like I don't want the attention. Now, there are times where I think over the last 2 years, I've done a little bit better with that. Um, Reached out to talk to people, and uh, it's helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that I need to go to therapy. I need to see a therapist for real, because there's a lot of stuff I still haven't dealt with. Um,
Normalized therapy for sure.
yeah, but that's something that I'm able to at least be honest about, and I know that about myself. That's one of those things that I need to do. So yeah, I think that I think part of it is the fact that we, like I said earlier, we didn't have that understanding of what being vulnerable was,
Mm-hmm.
because all we've ever known for generations is just lock it in.
Yep.
And
For sure.
I've exploded on people because I was locking what I was feeling in. So because I don't want to do that anymore, I've been able to vent and allow myself to be okay with it. But yeah, there's still a lot of work to do. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work.
I can appreciate you saying you not expressing your feelings or whatever at the time was more of a distraction, because most men would say it was a sign of weakness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or it was a sign of being soft. You were more like, no, I got a job to do, and me focusing on the emotions isn't distracting. It doesn't make it okay. I just think
yeah,
that was interesting that that was your word of choice. And I think as women, we have to take responsibility in this too, because you know we're so quick to be like, oh, he's toxic, but a lot of the same things that men grew up with and like we witnessed as well. Like I grew up in a house with a guy or with a man who he was raised with a certain idea of what a man was, which is we are tough, we don't cry, we don't show emotion. You know, we
mhm,
are just here to provide, and me crying or breaking down or even addressing a emotion is weak, right? So,
right.
like, we've seen that, so it becomes normalized. So, when we meet a nice guy who is in tune with his emotions, like, oh, like he's gay, you know what I'm saying? Or you don't want to talk to that kind of guy because he's too nice.
Yeah, that I don't understand. I like
It's weird.
because I mean I've been asked uh a couple times by different women if I was gay, and
Hmm.
you know I didn't take offense because honestly, one, I want to know like why you think that.
Why would you assume this, man?
Like yeah, but two, I'm secure in who I am
Hmm.
to not find that as like, oh, that's like horrible. You shouldn't like no, I just, you know, I've been asked that because I've been vulnerable. I've been asked that because I even when I was a teenager, I didn't have a girlfriend. You know,
Hmm.
different reasons, but you know, I'm a straight guy, just quiet. You know,
But
very
see,
quiet.
this is where, you know, entertainers, we say they shouldn't be role models, but like low key, what we see on TV, music, etc., kind of paints the picture of what we think an adult looks like. So,
Yeah,
like, I
or
think
even a
too, we don't,
relationship.
or a relationship, we don't take into account a person's environment or how they were raised either. So like
Yes.
in your situation, okay, I'm homeschooled, I grew up in the church. I'm not going to be out here wilding and having a whole bunch of girlfriends the same way other people do. And because
Mhm.
that's not the norm to some people, that made them question whether or not you're gay. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I mean, I went to church. I was probably at the church maybe 4 or 5 days out of the week
Right.
most of the time. So where's the time to do anything?
Hmm.
You don't have the time. You're too tired to sin. You're too
Like,
tired
Lord, I'm
to be
tired. I get
curious.
it.
Like
Like,
it's like what's there to do? There's nothing to do. So, you know, by the time I got out of that space though, yeah, it was I wanted to find out what was what for me, you know,
hmm.
and I don't think that see even being in that environment is very it can be damaging because you're expected to listen to this person on their experience alone
Hmm.
and only understand certain lessons from how they taught it, and that's it. You don't get to question it. You don't get to wonder or none of that. They said it as gospel, and I fought against that. I'm honestly I'm a rebel. Like I'm fully okay with saying that. Like I rebel against a lot of things, and most of the time when you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna go do it.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Who can't? Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that you know once I got out of that environment, I'm like, okay, now I see this okay, maybe this is not for me. But this, yeah, I enjoy drinking beer. I enjoy drinking wine. I enjoy listening.
CBD edibles.
Yeah, I love those. I, you know, I enjoy listening to various genres of music, or
Right.
whatever. But it was such a strict environment that I didn't even get to experience a lot of things like that at that time. So when I got into my 20s, like, yeah.
We just gonna try all of it.
I'm just going to see what's what. Like, and
Yeah.
that's just it. Um, but yeah, I think that did teach me one thing with about myself, is that I need to be honest,
Mhm.
and being honest about different things that I'm going through has allowed me in the last 2 years to not feel that pressure that I was putting on myself, like to be perfect, or I need to. Growing up in the church, I'm thinking I had to be married by the time I was 24, 25, thinking I had to have kids by the time I was 28.
Mhm.
So now that I'm 30 years old and I don't have either one of those things, a wife or kids, I'm okay with that. Like, if I never get married, I'm okay with it. If I don't have,
OTS is like your baby slash wife, so we already
it,
know what that
yeah,
means.
it commands a lot of time. So I,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm, I don't even know that I want to have kids anymore. Not that I wouldn't be okay with having kids, but the time that you have to spend when you have a kid, um, um, the time that you're allowed to have for your own stuff or your business or whatever, it's dwindled, and I'm not in that space to allot that time to kids.
That's probably another topic for another day, because like me, I am married and I do have a kid, and I am trying to build my own brand career outside of that. And it can be overwhelming because, like you said, like once you become those two things, there's this expectation that your priority, which it is, but your
Mhm.
priority and your main focus should be the family. It should be
Yeah,
your kid. It should be your marriage, especially as a woman, where it's like you're almost told you have to choose, like either choose to have a family and raise kids and take care of the house, or choose your career. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And trying to balance both, it can be a lot. So I
yeah.
understand that standpoint.
And I don't want to be a father that's absent. I don't
Hmm.
want to, get married and not devote that time to the relationship. But right now, like, I don't know when I can see that for myself. Like, because honestly, I'm not focused on that.
Hmm.
I'm not. I'm okay with just working on my business, building it up. Um, us adding on to the team, and like that's my priority. To be
Hmm.
completely honest, that is my priority. So I'm not looking to be in that space right now. A few years down the road, we'll see. But it's not
I
a
see that.
rush. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just not rushing that. But it took all of the stuff that I went through to be able to be open and honest about that. Like, I really don't want that right now.
Like, I'm cool on this.
Like, that was the expectation from people that I was at the church with,
Hmm.
that you have to have this, that, and the other. You have every wedding I went to. Oh, you're next. Every baby dedication.
Just put that
Oh,
juju on me.
yeah. Every time I go to a wedding, the groom would toss the garter.
The
Um,
garter belt. Hmm.
yeah. Every time they would toss it, I stand there, but my hands were together.
Hands in pockets behind your
Yeah,
back.
yeah. I think that thing came close to me, and the closest they got to me was like maybe like 6 feet away. It's never been landed in my general area, so I'm pretty thankful for that.
Question. So you spoke on, you said you're most comfortable opening up, or as of until now, you've been
Mhm.
most comfortable opening up to women. Has there ever been a situation where you was like, okay, like I trust this person enough to go ahead and open up, and they did not respond in a way that you was, or they responded in a way that you was like, you know what, I shouldn't have even said anything.
Ooh. Um, it's happened a couple of times. It's happened a couple of times. And that's both men and women that I've
Mm-hmm.
opened up to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would say early on, I thought it was okay to just pretty much open up to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quickly realized that's not the best idea. In fact, my last relationship ended because I listened to advice from people that were in horrible marriages. And I didn't put that together back then, but they were giving me advice and telling me, oh, she's cheating on you, because she went to go to Texas to train to be a flight attendant. So she was gone for like 2 months or something like that. And um before she left, I told her, just, I know you have a busy schedule. Just text me in the morning, text me at night. Just let me know you're good. I like
Yeah.
that's all. And we didn't have that much communication during that period. It was like, I think we only talked on the phone like twice, and it was because I didn't realize I was battling insecurities. You know, I was insecure about the fact that she's over there and I didn't know what was going on. And I'm thinking she's
Mm-hmm.
cheating on me and everything like that. And, my friends were telling me she's cheating. She's cheating. And
It be your own people, man.
and it's because they were in bad relationships. They were in bad marriages, and
Mm-hmm.
I took their advice and I ran with it. So by the time she came back, like I dropped her
You
off.
had it already made up
It
inside of
was
your
in my
mind that she
mind.
was on some,
2 months, 2 months. So I had the opportunity to just be comfortable with the thought that she was doing her own thing, and okay, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
So I got her from the airport and drove her, because she lived in Athens. So I drove her halfway to meet with her parents so they could pick her up and take her back. And the entire time I'm berating her. Like I didn't allow her any opportunity to express anything or be open and honest and tell me what was going on. And what pissed me off too at that point was I had bought an engagement ring, thinking that was going to help, you know, everything. And the only thing it helped was my credit score. So
Thanks, Ring.
yeah. So, but I if I had listened to her instead of being so insecure and not understanding what she was going through, had I done that back then, I wouldn't have gone off. I would have probably understood where she was coming from. She was having a panic attack. So,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't talk to her parents. She didn't talk to her sisters, brothers. She didn't talk to anyone. She just
Yeah.
locked in and went. And I understand that now, going through panic attacks myself, or anxiety attacks. Like I understand, like, you need to be able to focus what you're
Yeah.
focusing. And
Right.
so, back then I didn't have the ability to understand. I didn't have the wherewithal to even try to understand any of those things. So a lot of the stuff that I went through in that 5-year period, between 2013 and 18, a lot of stuff that I went through in that period, I've broken down for myself and learned what I needed to learn from those situations to say, okay, maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to adjust that. But
Right.
that's because I was able to be vulnerable. And
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm in a space where I really don't care what people think, you can think about me however you want. I'm comfortable with who I am now
Yeah.
to not really care about what you say. So my ability to be vulnerable now is I'm peak levels. Like I'm okay with being vulnerable and open and
Yeah.
honest that I was wrong about certain things. I'm okay with doing that. But culturally, we don't do that.
Mm-mm.
Culturally, we shut down and be quiet and just hold it in. It's like that's nah.
And hindsight is always 2020. Two things that I took from that. I think that that was that was a learning experience for you because again, you said like you started dating kind of later on, so I'm sure that you were still navigating what that meant to be inside of a relationship and dealing with those insecurities. But a learning point for you and for women as well, because we do this is like in the moment, whenever you're feeling things, when a conversation should be had, you don't have it because you don't want to look like you are insecure or you don't want to look crazy. But like shit, if you're feeling a way, you should probably express it so that we can go ahead and hash it out because it was a misunderstanding. And
Yeah.
now we can't turn back or we can't fix it because it's too late.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think that we definitely have to do is we have to be able to communicate. That
Mm,
communication is the foundation for relationships, whatever you're talking about, whether it's romantic, business, friendship, whatever it is. Communication is the foundation that relationship is built on. And if you don't have the proper communication, you can't build. Like you don't know what's going on. It's like this
right.
person's over here doing this and you're over here doing that, and it's it just
And we're
counteracts what you're
both
doing.
probably thinking the other person's doing something they're not doing. And then once we
Hmm.
get together, it's like combustion.
Yeah.
And speaking of combustion, like, you saying that culturally, it's not encouraged to go ahead and open up and talk about it to where you just shut down, hold everything in. And then the one emotion men do display is anger. So
Hmm.
then that is the blow up. That is the punching of walls, and that's the just wilding out. And then we're sitting here looking like, what the hell
Hmm.
is going
Hmm.
on? It's because you had all these other emotions that weren't talked about and weren't dealt with, and now it's anger. It's the
Exactly.
blow up.
Exactly. And that's not something that I want to display. If I do have kids, that's not something that I want them to see.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, even though he didn't express like frustration and stuff like that on from a personal thing, you know, I can't say he had anger issues while I was growing up, but there was a period of time where there was like he had blood clots, one in each lung, and
Mm.
that's something that you don't live through. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that people, they don't even know what happened to you until you get on the autopsy,
Yeah.
until you get at that table. And um, it took him out of work for over a year because he was
Mm-hmm.
he was working at FedEx, and he couldn't do anything for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So you could see a lot of that stuff building up
Mm-hmm.
through that. And later down the road, it would manifest itself in other things. And then also when he had to have a bypass surgery, that again, right there at death's door. So a lot of stuff he wasn't able to do for himself, we had to pick up the slack on doing certain things. But you could see the frustration because my family, we're used to being independent.
Mm-hmm.
We're used to doing, like, I'm used to doing everything I need to do for myself, my
Mm-hmm.
sister, my brother, my parents. Like, we're all built that way. So when we feel like we have to depend on someone else, it's very hard. And that's one thing that I know that was an issue for my dad, is because he didn't have the ability to do a lot of stuff on his own. He could barely walk
Yeah.
to the mailbox, let alone go drive himself to go do whatever.
Right.
So it was something that it took a lot that took a lot of time, a lot of energy for everyone to, be okay. But none of us went to therapy after that.
Yeah. So I'm sure everybody got some hidden shit that they need to go ahead and unpack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause I'm sure that
But
was tough for the family as a whole.
for sure. And but see, that's also another reason why I don't want to have kids until I deal with all that stuff. Like once I unpack that, then I can mentally prepare myself to have kids. Um, that's gonna be a minute. That's gonna be a minute. That's a lot of stuff to unpack, and then all of a sudden, that's a lot of money for therapy. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? So
because insurance only cover
yeah, yeah.
that.
So yeah, it's just it's a lot, but again, we have to, I think our generation is going to set the standard for how this thing goes moving forward.
Hmm.
Like, okay, we can't be this way. We need to be vulnerable. My God, we need to be vulnerable. We need to be open, honest. We need to be in tune with how we feel, so that we don't have these outbursts, so that we don't act out in certain ways, or whatever. We can
Right,
prevent a lot of the things that generations previous to us went through.
right.
Between being an adult and also having kids, like the relationship between parent and child, that can be a much better thing. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's
It's so
foundational.
much.
It's
Yeah. And I
foundational.
think this is like the accountability episode for women. But like
Hmm.
what I want to say, like what I had to learn with my marriage is like the same way you have to take into account how the guy grew up and what his environment is, we have to take into account for that for us as well. So like my dad was not like, he didn't have anger management issues, he wasn't abusive in no way shape or form, but like I said, he was like a man's man. So the one emotion we did see most of the time is, aside from him loving his kids of course, was
Hmm.
like when shit got real, it was like I'm about to punch a wall and I'm
Yeah.
angry, or I'm going to elevate my voice. So like those things is what I associated with, okay, this is what feelings are, right?
Hmm.
And so what I had to learn in my marriage is, damn, like appreciate the small wins, because my husband also grew up inside of an environment where talking about your emotions is not really encouraged. Like you have to have a defense mechanism up because like you live inside of a certain city or whatever.
And he's Jamaican, right?
So he is Jamaican.
Yeah.
He is Jamaican. He grew up in Plainfield, on top of that, inside of a certain type of neighborhood. So like,
Yep.
he has those two things going for him. So like a lot of times I'm like, fuck, like he doesn't have any type of emotions, like he doesn't care, or because he's not reacting in a way that I think that he should, then that means that he doesn't care, but
Yeah.
that's not the situation.
Yeah.
So as women, I think it's important that we like, if we're going to understand our partner, like really understand and really take into consideration how they've grown up and what they've experienced just now, because now we have to unpack 23 plus years
Yeah.
of what was normal to you, to now try to get you into a space where you are comfortable, and that change doesn't happen overnight.
Right. The example that you saw with your dad, was that something that when you were growing up dating, or and ultimately when you did get married, like was that something that played a factor into it, how you saw men?
I think yes and no, like, because I don't think anybody that I've dated is like my dad. I've placed my dad on
Hmm.
this pedestal of pedestals, so like no
Yeah.
man could ever. I think I do hold certain expectations. Like, okay, for instance, I say I did an episode with my dad one time, and I said I have daddy issues, and my daddy issues isn't like the stereotypical ones. The daddy issues for me is that I had a dad who was very present. He was very vocal about how much he cared for me, how much he loved me, and like he would feed life into me. So if a guy doesn't do that, or do it the exact same way he did, then I'm like, oh, well, then you don't really like me for real, or you don't really care for me for real. And that's not the case. Like, people show love and show care differently.
Yeah, we all have different love languages.
Yes, we all have
Yeah.
different love languages. So, like, for instance, my husband's not somebody who's very vocal about things, right?
Mhm.
And I've told him, like, babe, I wish you were more vocal about, you know, the fact that I am still pretty, or the fact that you appreciate things I do. So again, he's gone 20 plus years of acting one way, and now I'm asking him to change or add on to that, right? So when he does do it, or when he did do it, I would be like, you don't mean that. Like, you fucking said that mad drive, like you didn't have passion behind it or anything. But in retrospect, it was like, no, I have to appreciate it because he's uncomfortable doing it because it's not the norm. So it's not going to come out the way that maybe he intended it to, or
Yeah.
how I would like to hear it. So
Yeah.
I'm starting to appreciate the small wins and appreciate when I see effort is being made.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I find very interesting. Like, we both sides, we put expectations on the other
Mm-hmm.
gender, for, or our partner, I should say. We put expectations on our partner to do certain things or be a certain way based off of how we want it,
Mm-hmm.
and not based on how they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that to me, I think that's very, very interesting. Um, like, I'm used to being quiet, so like having to speak about different things is just not, unless it's something that one, I'm passionate about, or two, like it's a part of a specific conversation. I'm not really going to really, like, I'm not jumping in on the conversation. I'll listen, but it's hard for me to just go ahead and just speak all willy-nilly. I don't, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I guess I'm trying to work on a little bit. But it's kind of hard. It's hard when you're trying to do different things against your nature. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
feels
Exactly.
very, very weird. It feels,
It's foreign. It's uncomfortable. Like,
yeah.
you're questioning whether or not you're actually doing it right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just very weird. And we don't like being in weird situations. We don't
Mm-hmm.
like something that's different. We like things that are, I guess, that we know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very weird, especially for men, to have to extend whatever it is they need to extend to show that appreciation or whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's very weird, very weird.
Yeah.
I like, I know for myself, I'm very uncomfortable with having to do a lot of things um that I don't want to do. I like, again, I don't really
No,
want to
I'm just,
talk too much.
yeah.
So me having to speak and speak, it's just like, it's cringy. Like,
Yeah.
it's very, like, makes me cringe too much. So it's like, so I think that's
Yeah.
one thing I'm trying to do a little better in, but make it fit my personality,
Mm-hmm.
you
And then
know?
on both sides, like, I think we got to stop. Well, I'll speak for me. And the point that I had got to is, I have to stop accepting certain behaviors or feeling like I'm not getting what I need, and using the excuse of, oh, well, that's just how that person is, right? Because
Mhm.
at some point, yes, you have to accept a person for who they are, and there's some things that just fundamentally, personality wise, like, we can't change, but that should not then mean that they're not expected to grow at some point, right?
Yeah.
you know. And I like to use the caterpillar analogy of like whenever they go into the cocoon, like the whole uncomfortable feeling is when they know that they have to now leave that certain environment to grow and to be better. So like growth and change is weird and it feels awkward and it's uncomfortable, but if you put the work in, the outcome is great.
Now, do you think that growth is included in, so for your, in your situation, like with your husband, is him, I guess, modifying his approach, is that something you view as growth, or
Yes.
is that something you view as just him being more accommodating?
I show it as growth because it was a point where he wasn't doing it at all, or like to where if we don't agree on something, he's just shutting down and we're not talking about it, period. You know what I'm saying? So like even it's him even trying or him making it a point to be expressive about the fact that he appreciates me doing blah 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 blah, or um appreciating me working hard doing podcasts, etc. Like the fact that he's even vocalizing it, I'm like, okay, this is growth, because there
Okay.
was a point where he just wouldn't have said anything.
Okay. Okay.
And then it's growth too, or even if it is accommodation, like I can still appreciate it because there's a lot of shit, you know, you do inside of a relationship to where you don't really like it, like it's not really something you would do, but you're doing it off of the strength of, you know, that your partner would feel good about it. So
So,
I'll take it either way.
so do you, what are certain things that women do to accommodate men?
Like the girl said inside of her first video, we shut the fuck up. Like a lot of time, like honestly, bruh, like there's
Yeah.
so many situations I'm like, I'm just gonna hold my tongue and I'm gonna let you have it. But once it cools down, we are going to address it. But I know that right now probably isn't the best time. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
So
Or
in
yeah.
that situation though, do you, when you have to address something with your husband, Liz, what's the time frame that you do that in? Because things that I've experienced, it could happen maybe that day, could happen maybe the next day, but a lot of times it's happened a week or two after when my mind is no longer on that situation. And then I have to address something that I like that happened weeks ago or even maybe a month ago, and it's
No.
very, very weird.
It's weird and it's too much. The Aries in me is not going to allow it to fester for too long. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it, nigga, like a couple hours, maybe even a day. But I understand that with us, it takes us allowing the situation to calm down. Hey babe, let's go light the hookah, let's go grab some beers, like whatever we need to do to like kind of bring us into a nice peaceful space.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talk about it, but I don't let things fester for longer than like a day, because my husband does that to where he'll hold it in, and then when I get mad about something, that's his opportunity to now bring up the 5 things that he's been holding in for the past few months. No, like we need to address it when it's happening. I don't
Yeah.
like it to now build up into now you don't like this, 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 and this.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I try to, I don't like when things are swept under the rug at all. Like
Yeah.
I like being able to address things as soon as possible. There are times when I've had to um I've had to take the day so I can just woosah.
A day at the most.
Yeah, and then I'll address it because it's something that I think for me I know for a fact if I'm not in a calm space and all you're going, I'm going to respond in a way that I should not respond.
And that's on both ends, because like if you're upset about something, a lot of times how you really, you're speaking off of like an outburst versus you really taking time to look at the situation as a whole and really figuring out how you feel about it. So a lot of times it is better to just give it some time to say, okay, am I really upset about this? Or
Yeah. No, I know I'm definitely upset about it.
like, is this something that I'm really wanting to fight over?
It's just sometimes like I'll be in that space where I'm just like I can't um I don't want to give a lot of energy to different things because to me, when I look at the grand scheme of things, this doesn't mean much.
Mm-hmm.
It does need to be addressed, but in the grand scheme of things, this isn't going to affect the big picture. But to me, though, I think also if things go unaddressed or unchecked or whatever, you get that explosion, and now it's chaotic. You're arguing about 3 to 5 different things that have nothing to do with the main argument, and that's why I don't like that.
And then that's dismissing your partner, because now it's turned into the 5 things you don't like about me, when right now we're addressing some shit you did. And because I chose to speak on it right then and there, now this is your opportunity to now tell me how whack of a person I am, and that's wrong, because now we're not even addressing what we need to. We are deflecting from what we're really here to talk about.
Right. And I, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Well, we're gonna leave it at that.
I'm gonna leave it alone. Let me just stop.
All right. Well, I think good first episode. I think we definitely agreed more so than we disagreed. So that's a good start.
Yeah, you know what? What people probably don't understand, I'm actually I understand the female perspective a little more than a lot of guys that I grew up around. So it's been easy for me to be okay with just let it go. or
I get you, queen. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'm okay. Like I don't need to fight for my position to be right. To me, that's petty. That's childish. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't produce anything well. So it's just it just makes no sense. But I think with this show, it's good to have that perspective from the female and male view, point of view. So I'm excited because we have a lot of stuff to cover, and so this is gonna be a good show.
So what turned into like a practice run last night, we need to release that as like a bonus episode, because there was a lot more dysfunction in that one.
yeah
that weren't seeing eye to eye on that at all.
Not at all. Yeah, we'll release that as a bonus. Yeah, we will.
Lit.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, everybody, make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure that you follow all of our mini podcasts. We talk about sports, we talk about wrestling, we talk about life, love, and all that good stuff. Movies, films, everything. You can follow me on Instagram at Nina Sol, NIINASOL. You can follow Derrick at
Derrick, DERRICK_OTS. That's the only way to spell Derrick. And also at OTS Guys. So follow the social medias for OTS and visit the website otsguys.com. You can check out all of our podcasts through that platform as well. And as well, you can also find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Six Families Radio, TuneIn. We'll be on Amazon pretty soon as well. So
we making moves.
We're making money moves.
Indeed. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, Venus and Mars.